These are the things that you may be triggered by in this video, as I explain what it's like to be me. Unpleasant examples of chalk on chalkboard sounds, violent implications in pictures, violent analogies in word forms. I am Michael. I identify as a gardener and a person who enjoys going for walks in the woods. I also identify as an autistic person who lives with sensory processing and executive functioning challenges. These challenges are always present, even for interactions within the healthcare system, and that is difficult for me. I created this video to help you better understand what it's like for me to visit the dentist. I want to start a dialogue to realize accommodations that will work for both of us. I can go first with an easy accommodation. Please tell me with words after the video what your thoughts and ideas are, so that together we support our interactions and develop a positive therapeutic relationship. I dream that my experience at the dental clinic is supported by our environment. As I watch this video, I can remember the experience. While we wash together, we have bidirectional physical communication. I am more comfortable with physical communication. While we exchange the physical communication I am comfortable with, we are also exchanging words, and they are becoming more comfortable with the pairing. My dentist listens and matches my physical and verbal communication too. In this way, my comprehension, communications, and situational awareness are actively communicated. This exchange, along with other communication groundwork, allows me to participate and believe I am understood enough to effect change if I need to. This allows me to remain as functional as long as possible throughout my appointment. Next, we will be donning gowns and gloves together. As a gardener, I have seen the ill effects of contamination on my garden. As an autistic person, I am aware that my body has similar patterns where contamination could be involved. Proper hand hygiene, proper PPE, and careful attention are how I get comfortable with you, and what I know needs to be done anyway. Letting me help you put your gown and gloves on allows me to read your movements and approach to common space. Reciprocating does the same again from a new angle. Without words, my dentist communicates many things. I am at the dentist. We are just starting. My dentist's reaction types. My dentist's communication patterns. How soft and reassuring can they be? It also allows me to co-regulate. In the co-regulation, I get to learn how sensitive I am, how I am processing, how much I have tolerated so far today, what I can and can't put up with from here until the end of my appointment without disassociating. Another benefit to our glove and gown dance is that it allows us to start using pressure and touch to communicate. For me, pressure and touch communicate with my thoughts using fewer translations than if I had to use words out loud. Your gloved hand will be easier for me to listen to than your words. Another important challenge my sense of touch presents me is that oftentimes I perceive certain textures are painful. shivers down my spine. I interpret this as pain. With shivers down my spine. My other challenges are more difficult. Rather than sound, I am hurt by certain textures. Glove textures. Certain glove finishes, or the way some gloves wrinkle when they touch me, will be shivers down my spine. I interpret this as pain. The glove in my mouth is a sharp knife. My nervous system cannot tell the difference. I have learned I need to bring with me some things in a toolkit to help me make it through my dental appointment. Noise-canceling headphone. Lip gloss. Tinted safety glasses. Stress objects. Communications cards. Microflex neoprene nitrile gloves. Protexis PI blue with Nuthera surgical undergloves. Biogel PI Ortho Pro surgical gloves. Biogel PI surgical gloves. Protexis PI orthopedic surgical gloves. Protexis PI ortho surgical gloves. Glasses case. Biogel PI indicator surgical undergloves. Some gloves and the materials which they are made from, as well as some isolation systems, overload my cognitive process. The intensity they bring shuts down my executive functioning. My sensory issues become pronounced, and I lose the ability to focus on anything outside of the stimulation. A dentist's office has drills and pointy objects and harsh smells at times. The scariest part for me, though, are the fingertips of gloves. It often feels like just the fingertip of a dental glove is textured, and that texture is painful when it touches me. Well, the palm and most of the finger relative to the tip has a different texture. It is also painful. The stimulation is so much for me that it feels like each fingertip is an entire hand's worth of stimulation. As unreal as it is, that causes a mental panic, because if a whole hand were in a fingertip, it would be broken. And now my mind needs reassurance that I'm not feeling shreds of a glove, that our sterility isn't compromised. My mouth in pain from confusing textures, and the pain triggers other terrifying thoughts, particularly thoughts of contamination in my mouth from compromised gloves in pain, and panic. I am unable to do anything except shut down and wait for the end. My executive functioning is impacted by my sensory challenges. The impact you see is actually me putting off outward expression of suffering until I am out of sight. I'm about to describe a potentially traumatic experience I endure as a dental patient. I'm constantly working to understand that I'm not really feeling your curette in the iris of my right eye. My body says I feel it when your curette is in my mouth and touching me. I feel your mirror thrust down my throat. I feel each finger as the size of a whole hand. That's 3 separate hands in my mouth simultaneously. I have difficulty with the social act of swallowing, something so internal that no one ever talks about. And now another adult is involved in my swallowing. I have no idea how to manage that. Plus, you have the sharp tools. Clearly, you're in charge. Plus, it's hard to master the muscular aspects of swallowing Well, I feel like there are 3 hands holding knives and machinery are in my mouth. All of these overwhelm me at the dentist appointment. We transition to the phase of the appointment where we communicate using pressure and touch. If nothing else, my dentist sees the physical reminder that I need a language that is physical, and definitely not English. At best, we both come to know the language of physical touch as we both use it in that moment. We collaboratively begin exploring this communications approach by using firm pressure. At the beginning of our appointment, we exchange touch as an activity. We start by touching hands, as it's not really one of us touching the other at hands. We both touch each other. Next, we slowly move up each other's arms until we're situated with hands on each other's shoulder. At that point, it is impractical for me to touch further on my dentist. And since walking up arms is almost 9 touch exchange events for me, there is plenty of data now about how we are exchanging touch. I move my hands to my cheeks, leading my dentist to follow my touch. The point of this part is like follow the leader, and your touch mirroring my touch is the final act which allows me to create a reference point. This reference point will be used first by my dentist as a starting point for how to touch me today, pressure, speed, etc., which was acquired through the arm and face touching, following my lead. If my dentist needs a reminder, I can be second to use this reference point to ask, why aren't we using touch like we started with today? Through the collaborative donning of our gloves, hand touching, arm touching, and face touching, moving to my mouth so that we can determine and confirm which movements are good for how I am registering touch at this moment of this day. On its own, touch is the trickiest sensory domain for me to understand. Like this tiny glass, my ability to process my sense of touch cannot hold very much. If you imagine the drawn lines on the cups as the minimum threshold for sensory activation, and the rim of the cup how much touch experience until it dysregulates the individual, you can see how sensitive I and my healthcare team believe I am. I have a decreased ability to localize touch, especially light touch. This is true even with my eyes open, and can be frightening for me. For example, if you are poking in my mouth, I cannot tell where you are touching, what you are poking the inside of my mouth with, or if you are actually poking my mouth in the first place. With the touch exercise, my dentist has adopted the same touch they learned to use during the arm touching phase. This learning was done by imitating my touch. Now, each instrument is passed with the same enthusiasm and force. This is now actively supported communication for me. As my dentist passes the first instrument, they are explaining the movements and purpose it will have inside my mouth. As I listen to these verbalizations of what you are about to do, I have the instrument in my hand at first, and can map out some of what will really happen in my mouth. This helps orient me to what part of the appointment we are at, how much longer each procedure will last, and tell me what you're doing. As I am confident with the tool we're about to use in my mouth, I will pass it back to you, indicating my consent to proceed. This is a way for you to hand me control of the things you are going to do. When I am dealing with all of the sensory experience I have in a dental visit, I lose the ability to determine how long an event is. While it is happening, I have a hard time conceptualizing the end. For this reason, a slow countdown from 5 for easy or short tasks, and from as big as 10 for a longer or more difficult task, just to let me know about how long the task will continue before finishing. While my dentist uses touch to introduce the next instrument and the procedure through the instrument used, the vital pieces of the exchange beyond the instrument being passed include a description of how the instrument will be used, a demonstration, when practicable, for how the instrument sounds while moving, established onomatopoeia so that I can be prepared, and I can reference the noises I hear for that instrument. This allows me to experience more characteristics of it in a safe manner. Part of my issues are tied up in how I am already familiar with dental instruments. They have hurt me in the past, in the hands of dentists who didn't know about my touch issues. The passing them back and forth between us, exercise, helps me to feel safe around instruments, which have hurt. Along with this reassurance, described actions of the current plan for each instrument helps me know what to expect, and helps me prepare for it, replacing the memory of being hurt with hope for today. Using my hands helps me explore the objects with critical thinking and intimate mapping of the object with two senses, sight and touch. As my sense of touch explores this object, my mind connects it with things in a dental office, which by now have been forgotten by most people for this activity. The ambient noise, lights, and movements from the rest of the office are part of what I lump together as the secondary environmental inputs. We have successfully navigated communications when I am able to conceptualize the scary, potentially dangerous tools we are working with within those secondary environmental inputs. This informs me that it is safe to regulate, while depending on my dentist for my well-being, as a large part of my well-being depends upon making sure the relationships between objects, activities, and people near me are in agreement with my sensitivities. Success in this way helps me safely regulate my dependency on my dentist. Another part of success is in knowing that our activities are easily handled by my dentist during our collaborative exchange to allow for and guide my sensory experience. I also need to be prompted with accurate prompts to allow me to explain my needs. This happens typically in the form of asking questions about whether I am doing okay. The questions need to be specifically directed towards the activities present. Many times, this includes asking about how saliva is being dealt with, and if it needs more attention in my mouth. Other details that have come up include how I'm processing pain information, how I'm processing unseen touch, and forcing me to enthusiastically participate in my answers for continuing to validate their belief I haven't shut down. By granting me a way of safely understanding what you are about to do, you will have provided a way I can remain grounded, and I can be oriented for the activity using your voice as an anchor to what we will do together next. One of the sensory challenges I have is with how saliva moves during a dental exam. I dream that I could receive care in as upright a position as possible, as I believe this will solve my issue of drowning in saliva. When I sit on a dental chair and it is moving backwards, I feel like I'm on a roller coaster or other carnival ride. The less I go through with sensory stimulation, the more capacity I have to stay awake and maintain a conscious presence in my own appointment. If we use a device for saliva management, that could also be as successful if the device is good enough. The best way for me to realize a typical dental chair position is to start in that position. I realize that this is easier for me than reclining typically. This accommodation for my senses allows my executive function to maintain control in our shared environment in an intentionally unobtrusive way. This is how I want to solve as many problems we share as possible. When we compromise so nothing is obtrusive for either of us, we encourage intentionality, proactivity, and positivity in our interactions. This makes overcoming my major challenges a more friendly, dignified experience for me.